Asymmetrical brakes, flexing front wings, mini-DRS, there have been a lot of technical tricks played by the teams this season, diving into grey areas of the regulations. And it looks like we have a new one. Red Bull have reportedly gone to the FIA to inquire about the alleged use of water inside of the tyres, mainly by McLaren. But how does that even work, and why would anyone even try this? Let's sink our teeth into it in this week's GPFans Special. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. It helps us out a lot. According to Automotor und Sport, Red Bull first flagged the tyre situation after Lando Norris' Singapore Grand Prix win. Norris beat Max Verstappen by over 20 seconds from pole position on that day, and McLaren's pace on older tyres in particular raised eyebrows at rival teams. Red Bull suspect that McLaren have injected their tyres with water before the start of Grand Prix. This doesn't give the team an advantage initially, but it would mainly come into effect late in stints, give or take the last 10 laps on any set of rubber. The thin layer of water cools the tires that little bit extra, decreasing degradation, increasing tire life, and allowing the driver to punch in quicker lap times. McLaren have taken a big leap forward in 2024 in contrast to Red Bull Racing, who have seemingly taken a step back. This is what Max Verstappen had to say about this development. Quote, "It's quite strange, really. If you look at our car compared to last year, we really have taken a step forward in qualifying and also a bit in terms of race pace. The other teams have also taken a big step in qualifying, but an even bigger one in race conditions. That is something that is hard to understand for us." Whether McLaren have actually found something here and whether it is legal or not is of course up to the FIA. Red Bull have approached the governing body though, as they reportedly spotted wet spots around the McLaren tyres after the race in Singapore. The known method for just adding water, shout out to H2O, is to use the valve on the tyre. The way to then do it is to add a thin layer of water, just a few millimeters worth. Whoever does this needs to make sure the water evaporates by the time the tyres have to be returned to Pirelli. That means a lot of calculating the exact amount for the engineers, because you cannot overdo it and get found out. So how do we know all this? Well, Red Bull themselves have done this exact trick back in 2011. It wasn't forbidden at the time, but by the time the FIA were onto Red Bull, it got outlawed right away. The FIA reworded the rules and even made a new one specifically to prevent it from happening again. Red Bull suspects that a former employee who now works for a rival team has developed the idea further and has now put it into practice. The FIA drew up Article 10.8.4 to stop any future leakage, pardon the pun. Paragraph A specifically states that tires can only be pumped up using oxygen or nitrogen, and Paragraph B elaborates that every attempt to reduce the moisture or the gas in the tire is strictly illegal. In theory, there seems to be some gray area in the wording there, but there really isn't. Pirelli boss Mario Isola talked to Autosport about the topic and stated that it is fairly easy to add water to the tires. Adding moisture does make it harder to regulate tire pressures though. He did add that gaining an advantage from this is very hard, and he explained that it is much harder to regulate tire pressure if there is more moisture in there. Isola finally underlines that this technique is illegal, but that Pirelli have no evidence that would suggest that anyone has tried to do it. It's not just McLaren who are being suspected of using the water technique in the tires, but multiple teams. The FIA have looked at tires and wheels in Brazil, but again, no evidence has been found of anybody adding water to the tires. So the FIA didn't find any wrongdoing in Brazil, but what do you think? Have any of the teams used the water technique in 2024? And if you do, what team was it? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. For now, thank you so much for watching.